This is Selection Sunday of the 2006 season. Coach Alan Plant and the Albany Great Danes are 26-4, and we are coming off of the historic victory in the American East Conference Tournament Championship game, the 2006 season. On our home floor, we are able to get the job done and complete this unbelievable run and accomplish our dream of reaching the NCAA tournament at the Division I level for the first time in program history. By far the best season at the D1 level in program history for the Albany Great Danes. Never a winning season entering this year at the Division I level, and 30 games played, 26 wins, absolutely insane. And we've even cracked the top 25 national ranking. Our fate in the NCAA tournament was still very much in doubt entering the American East Conference tournament. We were on the bubble and not very high on the list. We felt like we had to win the conference tournament in order to make it, and we knew if we lost we would definitely be sweating it out and might get left out. Able to get the job done and accomplish that goal, taking down New Hampshire in the quarterfinal, Hartford in the semifinal, and we take down Binghamton in the championship. All three games we trailed over midway through the first half, and including this one, we trailed by double digits. We were down by 10 points very, very late in the first half, just seconds left. We were able to get a basket to cut it down to 8 just before halftime, but trailing by 8 at the half, we had our backs up against the wall. We're playing for our dreams, had a very passionate halftime speech, and we came out absolutely fired up in front of our home fans, and we stormed back, took the lead, built some separation, and when it all settled, we had a 12-point victory and our first ever American East Conference Tournament Championship. We entered the tournament the favorite as the number 1 seed, and we took care of business. We have done it. We will live the dream and go to the big dance. Let's go, Great Danes. And here's a final look at the American East Conference Tournament, the 2006 season. Let's a quick recap. The first round playing game to get to the quarterfinal was bottom 2 seeds, New Hampshire, able to get past Stony Brook 62-58. Then in the quarterfinal, Albany taking down New Hampshire 81-52. Hartford defeating UMBC 56-53. Vermont defeating Boston University 59-53. And Binghamton defeating Maine 74-66. Then in the semifinal, it was Binghamton who was the host for the first few rounds of the American East Conference Tournament, and they were able to blow out the 3-time defending American East Conference Tournament champions, Vermont, winning by 21 points in front of their home fans, 68-47. Other semifinal, we were able to get past Hartford, winning 73-57. Move on to the championship game. Both teams looking for the first ever American East Conference Tournament Championship and first ever trip to the D1 NCAA tournament. And Binghamton, they looked strong right about halftime. They had a 10-point lead. It's just seconds left. But second half was ours, 71-59, the final. We have done it. We got our 26th win of the season, the biggest win in program history at the D1 level, 71-59. Albany champions, going to the big dance. We take down the team that eliminated us last season. Binghamton knocked out Albany first conference tournament game, the 2005 season. And different story entirely in so many different ways this year. An absolutely historic season for the Great Danes, and it is not over yet. Next up is Selection Sunday show. I do not know what seed we'll be getting. No idea where we're going, but very excited to find out. Selection Sunday the very next day, right after the championship. So celebration still going on, and All of campus and all of Albany has really been glued and really excited about what's been going on here, and everyone's going to be tuned in for this. So here we go, Selection Sunday 2006 season. Let's go.
Every year in this country, the tournament adds life to spring. But it's not until the brackets are filled that March Madness springs to life. The map of the madness, the brackets, are only moments away from bringing the tournament to life. Good evening, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome to the NCAA Championship Basketball Selection Show. I'm joined here at the anchor desk by my partner, Clark Kellogg. All right, get your pencils and your brackets ready. We're ready to bring you the exclusive live announcement of the seedings and the pairings for this tournament. First, some background details. Of the 65 available tournament bids, 31 are automatically given to conference champions. There are 34 at-large bids. An opening round game will be on Tuesday night to narrow the field to 64 teams. Before we get to the unveiling of this year's brackets, let's take a look at the final top 25 media poll of the season. We have a major change in the rankings to point out. One team took a big tumble in the poll. The Washington Huskies fell all the way from the number 14 spot to number 19. They're going to have to forget about their recent troubles and get their act together going into the tournament. We'll soon find out if there will be another controversy revolving around the seedings in the tournament, or if the pollsters got it right. And there you have it, the final top 25 poll of the season. Now, let's take a look at some of the teams that find themselves on the bubble, hoping to hear those magical words, "You're invited." These are the 10 teams that may or may not be on their way to the big dance. Clark, any teams that jump out at you here on this list?
The Colorado Buffaloes are an intriguing team with a lot of potential. But to be honest, I'm not sure they're more deserving of a spot than the other 9 teams we have on the board.
You're right about that, and there are plenty of teams in the same boat with them.
The Texas El Paso Miners have the advantage of playing in a major conference, and no doubt that will increase their chances of getting the nod.
Well, they won't have to wait much longer. In just minutes, the whole country will know who's in and who's out. With that, let's get right to it and unveil this year's number 1 seeds in the NCAA tournament. The Duke Blue Devils are the top overall seed who will play in the Washington, D.C. regional. They come into the tournament on a major roll. They've been at the top of the media poll for the past 7 weeks. We'll soon find out if they can carry that momentum over into March Madness. On to the second number 1 seed who will play in the Atlanta regional. The Connecticut Huskies are trying to win their 3rd NCAA championship in school history. The Arizona Wildcats are the 3rd number 1 seed, and they'll play in the Minneapolis Regional. They're obviously no stranger to postseason play, with the experience of last year's NCAA tournament appearance still fresh in the minds of the veteran players. And finally, our 4th and last number 1 seed will play in the Oakland Regional. The Oklahoma Sooners are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the 5th time in the history of their program. That's one happy group. Getting a top seed is definitely worth celebrating. That's just what they're going to do. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. In one national semifinal game, the winner of the Washington, D.C. Regional will play the winner of the Atlanta Regional. In the other semifinal game, the winner of the Minneapolis Regional will play the winner of the Oakland Regional. Those games will be played on Saturday, April 1st. Then it'll be on to the national championship game on Monday night, April the 3rd. Those are your top seeds for this year's NCAA tournament. Clark, give us your initial take on the selection.
Well, I think we're looking at the 4 best teams in the country without question. Good choices by the selection committee from my perspective.
So, with the number 1 seeds out of the way, it's finally time to tackle the rest of the brackets. We look first at the Washington, D.C. Regional. The Duke Blue Devils are the top seed, finishing at 30-3. Winners of the ACC Conference regular season. They'll take on the winner of the opening round game, the Southeastern Louisiana Lions, with 14 wins, take on the Bowling Green Falcons out of the MAC. And now, the number 8 seed, the Cincinnati Bearcats, come into the tournament on the strength of an 8th place finish in their conference regular season and were quarterfinalists in their conference tournament. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Iowa Hawkeyes, who were 3rd in their conference, finishing at 18-11. The Iowa State Cyclones enter the field as the number 4 seed, coming out of the Big 12. This marks their 13th appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the UNC Wilmington Seahawks. Finished the season with 18 wins. They're the tournament champions of the Colonial Athletic Conference. The Villanova Wildcats come in as the number 5 seed, and they will take on the 12th seed out of the WAC conference. The New Mexico State Aggies are their conference tournament winners and will try to carry that momentum over when they play their first NCAA tournament game later this week. Next up is the number 2 seed. The Memphis Tigers are the regular season champions of Conference USA. They'll be going up against the number 15 seed, the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, with 16 wins in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. Our number 7 seed is out of the ACC. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Florida Gators, who finished second in their conference tournament, finishing at 19-12. And now the number 3 seed, the Maryland Terrapins, come into the tournament after finishing second in their conference during the regular season and winners of their conference tournament. What a scene as they finally get to see their name in the brackets. It'll be a fun night for these folks. The Wofford Terriers come in to face them at number 14 with 13 wins and a Southern Conference tournament championship behind them. The Arizona State Sun Devils are in as the number 6 seed. They return to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 3 years. They'll be taking on the number 11 seed, the Colorado Buffaloes, come in as an at-large bid out of the Big 12. You're really going to want to keep an eye on this bracket. There's the possibility of some great second and third round games here. You never know what's going to happen in the first round, but if everything goes according to form, this could make for some very entertaining matchups. What do you think about that one, Clark?
The Duke Blue Devils have been here before and know how to win in the tournament, so they have a very good chance to go a long way. The memory of their last trip to the Final Four is still fresh in their minds, and you can't put a price on that kind of experience, even for the guys who were just watching from the bench last time around. I think that gives them a huge edge.
Next up, we'll take a look at the Atlanta Regional. The Connecticut Huskies are the top seed, finishing at 29-3. Winners of the Big East Conference regular season and tournament title. They'll take on the American Eagles, the number 16 ranked team ever in the NCAA tournament. And now the number 8 seed, the LSU Tigers, come into the tournament as the 9th place team in their conference during the regular season and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. And check out the happy scene as their place in the brackets is confirmed. Looks like it's party time. The Xavier Musketeers come in to face them at number 9 with 22 wins and the chance to prove they belong in the discussion of the nation's best team. The Nevada Wolfpack come in as the number 4 seed. This marks their 4th appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. And they'll take on the 13th seed out of Conference USA. The Tulane Green Wave are their conference tournament winners. The Alabama Crimson Tide enter the field as the number 5 seed. Coming out of the SEC, this is their 18th appearance in the NCAA tournament in school history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed, the Creighton Blue Jays. Finished the season with 17 wins. They're the tournament champions of the Missouri Valley Conference. Our number 2 seed is out of the Missouri Valley Conference. The Northern Iowa Panthers had a tremendous year that included a regular season championship. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the Butler Bulldogs, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 15-14. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Michigan State Spartans have established themselves as one of the best teams out of the Big Ten. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Belmont Bruins, with 26 wins ever in the NCAA tournament. The Arkansas Razorbacks are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Delaware State Hornets, come in as regular season and conference champions of the MEAC. And now the number 6 seed, the Northeastern Huskies, come into the tournament first in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Indiana Hoosiers, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 16-13. Certainly looks to me that this bracket is going to be the strongest of the 4. They have several teams I think are capable not only getting to the Final Four, but of winning it all. And even some of the lower seeds here have the potential to advance. This is a really deep, really difficult bracket. Anything special that jumps out at you in that bracket?
The Northern Iowa Panthers have more to prove than any other team in this tournament. They haven't had a lot of experience in the tournament recently, so it's difficult to say exactly how they'll handle it. They've shown they're capable of playing with the best teams in the nation during the regular season. Now they need to show they belong with those teams come tournament time.
Our third regional breakdown of the day. Let's take a look at the Minneapolis Regional. The Arizona Wildcats are the top seed, finishing at 25-6. Winners of the Pac-10 Conference regular season. They'll take on the Titans of Cal State Fullerton, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their first appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. Our number 8 seed is out of the Big East. The West Virginia Mountaineers were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the Big Dance. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Minnesota Golden Gopher, who were 4th in their conference, finishing at 17-10. The Wisconsin Badgers enter the field as the number 4 seed. Coming out of the Big Ten, this will be their 11th appearance all-time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Terriers of St. Francis, who finished the season with 23 wins. They're the tournament champions of the Northeast Conference. The Washington Huskies are in as the number 5 seed. They earned their second trip in a row to the NCAA tournament.
Let's go. Let's go.
The Albany Great Danes come in as regular season and conference champions of the America East Conference. And now the number 2 seed, the Texas Longhorns, come into the tournament first in their conference during the regular season and winners of their conference tournament. As you can see, the celebration is on. A great moment for this team and their fans. The Southern Jaguars come in to face them at number 15 with 16 wins and a SWAC Conference Tournament Championship behind them. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets have established themselves as one of the best teams out of the ACC. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the UNLV Runnin' Rebels, with 20 wins. This will be their 14th appearance in the NCAA tournament in school history. And now the number 3 seed, the Boston College Eagles, come into the tournament as the 4th place team in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 14 seed, the Winthrop Eagles, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 17-11. The Kentucky Wildcats come in as the number 6 seed. This will continue their tremendous run of consecutive tournament appearances. And they take on the 11th seed out of the Sun Belt Conference. The Louisiana Lafayette Ragin' Cajuns are their conference tournament winners. Now they'll try to win another tournament, only this one has a field of 64. Right away, it looks to me like this bracket could have some of the teams you look at as possible sleepers. It's always tough to pin down who's going to pull the upsets, but I'll go out on a limb and say there are going to be lower seeds that make some noise here. Is there any one team that stands out to you there?
The Cal State Fullerton Titans are certainly a team to watch out for. They're a tremendous all-around team and have the ability to beat anyone on any given day. They didn't get to be one of the highest-ranked teams in the nation by accident. This is a dangerous team that knows how to win, and I would not take them lightly.
The last, but definitely not the least regional on the list, we'll take a look at the Oakland Regional. The Oklahoma Sooners are the top seed, finishing at 24-6, runners-up of the Big 12. They'll take on the Canisius Golden Griffins, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their 4th appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. Next up is the number 8 seed. The UCLA Bruins have established themselves as one of the best teams out of the Pac-10. They'll be going up against the number 9 seed, the Georgetown Hoyas, with 17 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. And now the number 4 seed, and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. Let the party begin. They celebrate their place in the brackets with the whole country watching. The Valparaiso Crusaders come in to face them at number 13 with 18 wins and a Mid-Continent Conference Tournament Championship behind them. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame come in as the number 5 seed. This is their 27th appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. And they will take on the 12th seed out of Conference USA. The Texas El Paso Miners are rewarded for their great play this season with an at-large berth in the tournament. The Charlotte 49ers enter the field as the number 2 seed, coming out of the A-10. This will be their 11th appearance all-time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 15 seed, the Eastern Washington Eagles. Finished the season with 15 wins. They're the regular season and tournament champions of the Big Sky Conference. And now the number 7 seed, the Pittsburgh Panthers, come into the tournament 6th in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the California Golden Bears, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 17-13. The Syracuse Orange are in as the number 3 seed. They earn their 3rd consecutive appearance in the NCAA tournament. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed. The Harvard Crimson come in as regular season champions of the Ivy League. Our number 6 seed is out of the West Coast Conference. The Gonzaga Bulldogs come into the NCAA tournament as winners of their regular season and conference tournament championships. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Hawaii Warriors, who finished 2nd in their conference tournament, finishing at 19-10. First thing that comes to mind when I look at this bracket is that if the top 2 seeds advance to the Elite 8, we could have an absolute whale of a regional final. That could be the game of the tournament right there. Well, Clark, what's your impression of the teams in the final bracket?
The California Golden Bears will be an extremely dangerous team in this tournament, mainly because they have such terrific veteran leadership. Coaches love when they have guys on the floor that have been around the block a few times because they don't get rattled. They play with composure. I look at the experience of this team as something that could put them over the top.
With all the speculation over and the bracket picture finally in focus, let's get your thoughts on our top 16 seed.
The Nevada Wolfpack were deserving of a better seed in my mind. They finished the season as the number 8 team in the country. It's beyond me how they wind up in the tournament as a 4 seed. The Louisville Cardinals snuck into the top 16 as probably the weakest of the 4 seeds, and I'd be surprised if they make it to the real Sweet 16. The most shocking thing about the top 16 is the lack of any representatives out of the Mountain West Conference. Obviously, the committee did not show a lot of respect to that conference, and maybe they don't deserve any.
Now, let's look at the breakdown by conference. The Big East gets 9 teams. The ACC with 5 out of the Pac-10. The SEC gets 5 teams. The Big 10 with 5. 4 out of the Big 12.
What a tremendous year for teams out of the WAC. They got the most bids of any mid-major, and if they keep this up, we might remove that mid and call them a major conference pretty soon.
What a shame there are so few small conference schools in the tournament. The most any of those conferences got in was 1 team. That's really hard to believe.
I can't believe there's only 1 team out of the Mountain West Conference. What a disappointing year for that conference. The balance of power is cyclical. It shifts amongst the major conferences, and they better hope it's going to swing back in their favor soon.
We talked about the bubble teams earlier. Now, let's check back on them and see who got their ticket punched. What do you think of the list now, Clark?
The Hawaii Warriors were finally able to turn it on toward the end of the year, and you know how the folks on the selection committee love teams that finish the year strong. That made the difference for them.
Absolutely, and I know we have a few more teams on the list that are celebrating.
The Colorado Buffaloes can finally exhale. I don't think there was a lot of doubt that they'd make it, but we've seen good teams get left out before. And you just know this was a nerve-wracking day for this squad. Well, we know there are a few teams on the other side of the equation that weren't too thrilled to get the bad news today. The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers did what they could, but playing outside of a major conference really worked against them. It's hard to gauge how strong a team really is when you're not facing the best of the best on a nightly basis.
Not a happy day on that campus, that's for sure, but they'll have some company when it comes to watching the tournament on television this year.
The Vanderbilt Commodores really didn't do themselves any favors with their dismal finish to the season. Unless you've had just an unbelievable start to the year, you're usually not going to overcome that kind of struggle at the end of the season.
Well, partner, I think we're ready to start the real show. What do you say?
Well, Greg, that sounds good to me. I think it's going to be an incredible tournament. I can't wait until we actually throw the ball up in the air and get these games started.
So for my partner, Clark Kellogg, and the rest of us here in the studio, I'm Greg Gumbel signing off. Now, let the madness begin.
All right, here we go. We know our place. A little disappointing, not gonna lie. Quite a bit disappointing to see our seeding here. So we finish in the top 25, number 22 in the nation, but we're gonna end up with a 12 seed. I saw the ranking for Belmont as a comparable team to us, same record, small conference as well. They had a bad ranking, and yeah, we get a 12 seed here. So we were the favorites going into the American East Conference, and we are definitely big underdogs here going into our first ever D1 NCAA tournament. And we will be taking on 5 seed Washington Huskies, a team that was a 1 seed last year. But certainly thrilled to be here. Not satisfied. We really want to make a splash here. Really want to make some noise now. Fired up to get it going. We are going dancing here. Time for our one shining moment, and hopefully it can be more than that. And hopefully we can make a run of it here on the grandest of stages in college basketball. Let's do it. Let's go Great Danes.